A big hello to fellow teachers. Welcome to the EduWell podcast, a show created for teachers, by teachers, with teachers. I'm Alex Bush.
And I'm Chelsea Henderson. With over 30 years of combined teaching experience, we're here to help you find balance in your professional and personal lives.
Join us as we dive into a well of information, exploring insights, strategies, and practical tips that you can apply both within and beyond your classroom.
So whether you're new to teaching or a seasoned expert, this podcast is for you. Let's be well
and do well
together. Welcome back to EduWell, everyone. We are excited about this episode because today we get to reflect. We are at the end of the school year and we are reflecting on that, and we are reflecting on this season of EduWell. So we're going to be looking backwards and we're going to be looking forwards. Where else are we looking, Alex?
Well, we're looking deep, deep into our souls. And as we're doing that, we're looking down into this beautiful brick well that's in the middle of a meadow. In Saskatchewan, probably. And we're looking into the well, and looking back at us is our reflection. So this is our very deep reflection episode. I do get visuals, Chelsea, whenever we are talking about the well. The well is in really different provinces, different states, just depending on what we're doing. But yeah, we're reflecting today. And I'm really excited about seeing, when I kind of listen back to some of the episodes that we've already done over this amazing year, is that we've got some common themes that keep on popping up. And we have some other themes moving forward that we talk a lot about exploring. So to me, we're kind of in this really cool synthesis state right now. So I'm pretty ready for this. How about you?
I'm ready. Yeah, I think we've really grown and we're really learning and we're really going to build on what we've done so far. So we look forward to that.
Yes, dare I say in this moment that in this process, we have made a lot of mistakes. And it's funny when I reflect about doing this, I listen back to some of the older podcasts that we've done, and I can see, how we've grown and changed and improved. And the idea of putting the podcast out there and putting mistakes out there used to really terrify me. And now I listen back and I kind of have a giggle here and there, but I react to it a little bit differently. I see it as just part of the process, and I'm okay with that. So that is one thing that I'm going to reflect on in this moment right now.
And I think that is so related to teaching. We go into the classroom, we teach our lessons, and then we're always reflecting on that. And we're saying to ourselves, did I make a mistake? What could I improve for next time? So it's all connected to what we're doing here.
So true. Let's start looking at some of the themes that we have explored throughout the season. The first one is our annual cycle, and that is making sure that we're able to recognize that as teachers, we're all experiencing these phases throughout the teaching year. Within a day, we're experiencing cycles. Within the entire school year, we're experiencing cycles. And within months and weeks, we're experiencing cycles. And we're really learning how to be flexible and how to adapt with this as teachers. And to make sure that while we're doing that, we're thinking about our needs and making sure that we're also putting the time and effort into contributing to our own well-being. On top of that, I'm just thinking about life in general. So we have this cycle as teachers that we all kind of go through together that we refer to. We also have our own personal kind of cycles that exist. For instance, maybe every time around Easter, that is an anniversary of a loss that I've had in my life. And it's a really hard time of year for me. So I think it's really important to identify the cycles that exist for all of us, but also the cycles that are individual to us, and to be able to plan with that in mind and kind of preempt for ourselves and take care of ourselves in a deeper way.
Yeah, and I also think it's important to note that you can't have the sweet without the sour. So when we talk about these cycles and we talk about life, we know that throughout our teaching year especially, there are going to be ups and downs. So just knowing that things ebb and flow and that we're going to face challenges is also very important for your awareness when you're going into these phases. And it also really reminds us of our second big idea, which we keep talking about, which is to put that oxygen mask on first. We always have to help ourselves so that we can be prepared to help other people.
Right. And I'm pretty sure that in the last few episodes in our rest series, you introduced me and our listeners to a new quote. Do you remember what that quote was, Chelsea?
The slower you go, the faster you go?
No, but I loved that one.
Oh, yeah, that was from my husband. Okay. Was
Yes,
it
that's right.
work smarter, not harder? No,
No,
you
but
said that.
also, oh, well, wow, that's a good one too.
Yeah, that's a popular one. Okay, so what was it? I can't even
It
remember.
was, okay, it was you cannot pour from an empty cup.
Oh,
And
beautiful.
it's June, so a lot of us are trying to pour from a pretty, like, pitiful little drops of water left in the cup.
Yeah.
And I keep on saying to myself, Alex, you can't pour from an empty cup. Those little one-liners, they're almost like resetters, and they give you either permission or instruction to shift something. There have been many quotes that I've used to move me forward, and that right now happens to be one of them.
Yeah, and it's also great how they just appear in your social media feeds too, because of the whole algorithm. Honestly, sometimes I really appreciate that. A quote comes up and gives me inspiration. That's just a positive thing about social media. So, yeah, I do like those one liners.
And what's even better is when you have someone face to face who you're having a beautiful conversation with, when they whip out one of those sayings that, they've inherited over the years or they've seen on social media, and they share it with you. And that brings us to the big idea of the significance of relationships. We are in the business of people, and education right now is so foundational to the development of a human being in a way that's even more consequential than it's ever been. Because we are able to connect with people and have relationships in online ways, or have opportunity to never really interact with one another, the importance of teaching relationship within the school community and students learning about how to interact with one another and having all those opportunities makes our job so much more important, I believe, than it ever has been. So that's kind of my true opinion on that. And then the other piece with relationship is the importance of the supportive relationships that we have in our lives with our colleagues as teachers, with our communities, with our families, with our friends, and how that really allows us to do the work that we need to do in a good way because we have support. And that's something that we've talked about a lot in the podcast.
Yeah, and we're going to pay a lot of attention to the significance of relationships and connecting going forward in the podcast, because we have a lot of information to share on that. So let's get into our next one, which is small habits, which we've talked about quite a bit so far, and we're going to continue talking about because I think that this method has helped both of us so much in our lives, in our teaching and in our home lives. And we're going to continue to talk a lot about how the skills we use and develop as teachers can be applied to our personal lives, because I just love that. I love aligning the skills together. And in order to do that, you have to implement those small habits.
Okay, and that just reminded me of another quote that I was using for a long time, but haven't used it lately. And that is, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time.
Bite at a time.
And we are not promoting eating elephants in any
Nope.
way. We love elephants. But big idea. It's just one foot in front of the next and getting things done. And if you need to use that Pomodoro method and do the, Alex, which is like the 5 things at a time or the 5 minutes at a time, do it. It gets things done.
Right. Find what works best for you, especially with those small habits, because they make a big difference. They produce huge results. And the big idea with the whole podcast is that we're juggling a lot, and it's important that we take care of ourselves so that we can be well and do well, at least most of the time.
Right. And part of that would definitely be the add-on here, our last big theme that we've talked about, which is the importance of rest and reflection to help us to deal with any situation that we come across, whether it be in our home life or in our work life, and making sure that we get the rest to recuperate. And remember, we've talked about rest looking a million different ways for different people. And the other piece of that is reflection. And interestingly enough, when it comes to reflection, I do the most reflection in the summer because I have all of this time and I start kind of unpacking everything that happened throughout the school year. And I have a fresh perspective on it. The emotion isn't, in it anymore. And I'm a big reflector in the summer. And it just so happens that we're about to enter the beautiful summertime. So that's kind of
Right.
exciting.
And then you get a chance to clear your mind. You actually have time to clear your mind and open it up to reflect. So that's awesome.
Exactly.
And to wrap up the episode, we do want to say that although we can use many strategies and tips that we've discussed throughout the podcast, there really is no amount of hydration or exercise or organization or feeding our own souls that solves the bigger issues that we are facing in education today. We know that the problems are real and that there are many things out there that are out of our control and that educators are dealing with on a daily basis.
Yeah, I wouldn't want anybody to think that we're wearing rose-colored glasses. We are not. We are very, very aware that the last 5 years in education have become increasingly more complex. There have been many challenges and opportunities, many, many challenges. And so when I think about it, I'm thinking about polarization in schools. I'm thinking about violence in the schools and in the classrooms and in the community. I'm thinking about massive amounts of learning loss due to a pandemic. And I'll add to that social emotional loss in students kind of learning how to interact, a gap in that. We are dealing with staff shortages, teacher shortages, and all the while, students have access to a device which allows people to access students from all over the world. And some access can be positive. We were talking about those positive quotes, and some can be incredibly negative, and it makes its way into our classroom communities. So, like you said, no amount of hydration or meditation is going to fix the fact that there's some really, really big challenges happening in education, and not just in Canada and not just in the United States. It is also happening in Europe. So if you're feeling right now like this is a really challenging career, you are right. It is a really challenging career. It always has been, but it's extra challenging right now. And it is a very rewarding career. And we're going to do our part in having these conversations moving forward in the podcast so that we're addressing some of these issues with a little bit of a wider lens.
That's right. And we know that those of you out there who are dedicated to this and who are looking forward to a career in teaching or who are already in it are absolutely up for this challenge. And we truly hope that we can contribute to your career in a positive and rewarding way.
Yeah, we want to contribute to your well.
That's right. We want to get some drops in that well for you.
Yeah, we don't want you to be sitting there thinking, oh my God, am I the only person feeling this way in this moment? You are absolutely not. Again, I repeat, it is a very challenging time right now in education.
All right. The one takeaway we have for you today is to think about what you have accomplished this year. You have done amazing things. We are certain that you have overcome challenges, you have grown as a person and as an educator, and you have definitely earned rest.
Lots of rest. So as we gear up for this upcoming season of EduWell, get ready for a fresh perspective from some fantastic folks in education. We are extremely excited to connect with you. Your time, your willingness to tune in, and your openness to connect with us throughout this inspiring and challenging educational journey means the world to us. And we are hoping to learn from you too. Thanks for being a part of the EduWell community. Until next time, be well
and do well.